In 2015, carrying a BlackBerry in public is an invitation to be interrupted. You're bound to be asked by some well-meaning friend or nosy stranger, "Is that a BlackBerry? Do people still use those?" And while the answer to that question is an unqualified yes, the more interesting question is, what's that like? I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now, and I spent a couple weeks finding out. This is our video review of the BlackBerry Classic. This review was made possible by the folks at GSM Nation, offering unlocked smartphones and top-tier customer service at gsmnation.com, and by US Mobile, providing simple, fully customizable wireless service at gousmobile.com. As its name implies, the BlackBerry Classic is meant to evoke the best of times gone by for Berry heads. Its heavy chassis combines cool metal, rubberized plastic, and Gorilla Glass 3 for a package that feels high quality, durable, and above all, important in the hand. Even tiny details like the travel and feedback of the metal side keys contribute to the premium feel. It's like the moleskin of smartphones, an instantly recognizable institution that commands respect, if largely from the old school. In the best tradition of a BlackBerry, this feels like a handset for work, for getting things done when the little red light starts flashing. Central to that perception is the 35-key backlit keyboard, one of the only physical keyboards you can find on the market, and almost certainly the best. This, of course, is BlackBerry's bread and butter, a keyboard for pounding out everything from emails to essays. And while I'm still faster on a touchscreen, I find I'm often happier typing on the Classic. Physical keys let you type by feel, and the tactility of the whole experience elicits a sense of the familiar, a comfort that modern touchscreens just can't reproduce. And even if you're not susceptible to such romantic notions, there's a practical advantage here too. The BlackBerry trackpad has made its return as part of the resurrected tool belt. Even after so many years of touchscreen dominance, it's still easier and faster to position a cursor or highlight text with the trackpad. Like the physical keyboard itself, it may seem like an anachronism, but it's actually a very useful tool for those whose mobile lives hinge on the typed word. Of course, the touchscreen still persists, and here we see the Classic fall more in line with modern concepts, if not modern specs. The LCD is small, a 3.5-inch perfect square at 720 by 720, not exactly ideal for the widescreen world of media consumption, but serviceable for everything else. And sitting behind it is the same processor we saw in the BlackBerry Q10, backed up by the same basic memory loadout. Yep, for the most part, this is a spec sheet from 2 years ago. Classic indeed. But BlackBerry fans hoping for a full-on throwback won't find the stodgy software of old. Running on the Classic is the latest build of the new BlackBerry OS, and that's both good news and bad. On the positive side, the software is very fluid, and in terms of animations, quite responsive considering the older hardware it's running on. Active apps are contained within frames on the home screen, which can be closed or kept running, a handy feature for those who like to leave a YouTube video playing in the background. To the right sit the cascading pages of apps, and to the left, the BlackBerry Hub, a unified inbox for every single notification, no matter what app it's from. Conceptually speaking, the Hub is still the smartest part of the new BlackBerry OS. As with the hardware, the Classic's software shines brightest when it leverages the keyboard. You can unlock the phone with 2 key presses, rather than relying on the lock button or a screen swipe. Just start typing on the home screen to jump right into universal search. Scroll web pages, emails, or social feeds a page at a time with the space bar, or turn a page in Kindle the same way. Jump to the top or bottom of lists with T and B. Search a web page for a specific word with S. The list goes on. Pair some of these shortcuts with other BlackBerry conveniences like the browser's no-frills reader mode, and you get an interface that's refreshingly devoid of gimmicks or tricks. At its best, the BlackBerry user experience is one of powerful, alluring simplicity. But BlackBerry 10 isn't at its best in a critical area: apps. It's commendable that the Classic comes loaded with both BlackBerry World and the Amazon App Store, and it's awesome that you can sideload almost any Android app you want. But compatibility isn't synonymous with quality here. Running Android apps within BlackBerry 10 is a sluggish, buggy experience at every level, from installation to everyday use. That's a natural consequence of running Android apps on a non-native platform with older hardware, but it can be very frustrating if you're used to more powerful, mainstream smartphones. Even outside the Android runtime, BlackBerry 10 just isn't a fast OS. The BlackBerry Hub still drags its feet on tasks as simple as opening messages or marking items as read. And Facebook Messenger is so slow to update conversations within the Hub that it's almost unusable. Universal Search, one of my favorite features of the platform, is prone to missing the first few keystrokes if you're in a hurry. Even apps coded for BlackBerry 10, like Twitter and Evernote, are much slower than their Android, iOS, and Windows counterparts. And you can forget about hardcore multitasking. Grinding the Classic to a halt is as easy as trying to snap a photo while you're streaming a podcast through Stitcher. Even if you really want to like this device, shortcomings as fundamental as these don't make it easy. Once again, the ship starts to right itself when we return to the fundamentals. I tested the BlackBerry Classic in both Las Vegas and Greater Boston over the course of 2 weeks. US Mobile's connectivity is provided by T-Mobile US, and aside from a capacity crunch at CES, the network's coverage and data speeds have been impressive, and the BlackBerry hasn't had any trouble holding onto signal, be it 3G, LTE, Wi-Fi, or the Bluetooth connection that powers my LG Tones. Phone calls are bright and clear on the earpiece, with ample side tone that evokes memories of old landline telephones. Speakerphone performance is loud and clear as well. There's not much to say about the 8-megapixel camera, except you'll want to keep a steady hand while shooting. Autofocus is not the fastest. Colors can be quite saturated and rather nice in good lighting. Turn the lights down and you get the usual digital noise creeping in, along with diminishing saturation and an even slower focus performance. One notable thing about the viewfinder software is that it'll auto-detect challenging lighting conditions and suggest HDR automatically. Also, it's got a time shift mode to compensate for a blinking or talking subject. Take the BlackBerry home or back to the office after shooting a few photos, and you can use the BlackBerry Blend software to view the photos on your computer. Then check your calendar for your next appointment, and even tap into your hub to answer the emails you missed. It's a lot like Motorola's Connect or a pared-down version of AirDroid, and it's convenient if you do spend a lot of time at your desk, though I wish the file manager made it easier to bulk transfer media. Finally, battery life seems fairly typical for a 2500 mAh battery. BlackBerry's estimate of 22 hours of mixed usage seems ambitious, but I never had trouble getting through a full day, even with fairly heavy use. During my time with the BlackBerry Classic, I took pages and pages of notes over several days at one of the world's biggest technology shows. I juggled traffic from 2 email accounts, as well as Facebook and Twitter, and used BlackBerry Messenger to keep in touch with my iPhone, Android, and Windows Phone toting teammates. I kept the calendar in sync, took the occasional phone call, kept an eye on the weather, watched the odd video, and even read most of a novel. In short, I used the BlackBerry Classic for work about 80% of the time, and that's when it was at its best. In this respect, the BlackBerry diehards who shout down criticism by saying, "It's not a toy, it's a tool," well, they have a point. For a consumer who wants a modern smartphone with all the trimmings, the Classic is not the right choice. Hell, it's not even the wrong choice, it's a terrible one. But for the shrinking pool of workers for whom a BlackBerry is an employer-issued accessory meant to help get the job done and nothing more, the Classic is exactly what it needs to be, and nothing more. If you're going to be stuck in the past, by personal choice or by employer decree, there's no better smartphone to do it with than the BlackBerry Classic. Once again, this review was made possible thanks to a device loan from GSM Nation and US Mobile. Pay them a visit in the links at the description below, and be sure to check out Pocket Now's other recent reviews in the links above. Till next time, this has been Michael Fisher with Pocket Now, Captain Two Phones on Twitter, off to try for another high score in Brick Breaker. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.